All right, we're going to talk about exponents and scientific notation. I know many of you have already had this kind of stuff, so this might be a review for you. So we're going to talk about properties of exponents, okay? So we have the product rule, okay? So if I have b to the mth power times b to the nth power, that's going to be b to the m plus nth power. Our example is 9 to the 6th times 9 to the 12th becomes 9 to the 6 plus 12, or 9 to the 18th. So if I multiply and I add on. Power rule. So I have b to the nth all raised to the nth power. Now I'm going to multiply my exponents. b to the m times n. So I have parentheses 3 to the 4th, parentheses to the 5th power. That becomes 3, 4 times 5, or 3 to the 20th. The quotient rule is very similar to the product rule. So I have b to the nth over b to the n. Now I'm going to subtract them. b to the n minus n. So here my example is 5 to the 12 over 5 to the 4th. That becomes 5 to the 12 minus 4, which is 5 to the 8th. The zero exponent. A non-zero value to the 0th power is 1. Okay, we don't want b to be 0. So a negative exponent is going to be the reciprocal of it. So b to the negative nth is going to be equal to 1 over b to the nth. Okay? So our example here is 8 to the 0 is equal to 1. 8 to the negative second is going to be 1 over 8 squared, which is 1 over 64. So here we have some simplifying, and we're just going to use those properties to simplify. So 7 to the 0th is 1. And then 5 to the negative third is 5 to the 1 over 5 to the third. Let me rewrite that so you can actually see it. 1 over 5 to the third, which is 5 to the third is 125, so it's 1 over 125. So here I have x squared times x cubed. That's going to give me x to the 2 plus 3, or x to the 5th. Here I have x4 to the 4th to the 3rd power. So that's going to be x4 times 3, which is x to the 12th. Here I have x to the 7th over x cubed. So that's going to be x to the 7 minus 3, which is x to the 4th. Okay, so make sure that you understand the power rules. We're going to talk about scientific notation and how to use scientific notation when we're looking at these properties. So scientific notation, a positive number is written in scientific notation in the form a times x to the 10th, where 1 is less than or equal to a is less than 10, and n is an integer. So you remember that this is going to be one value to the left of the decimal, and that value has to be between 1 and 9. We have our decimal, and then times 10 to the nth. So we're going to talk about expanding this, okay? So when we're looking at this, we're going to expand this out. So I have 1.375 times 10 to the 10th. So when I expand that, that's going to be 1.375. So now I've used up 3 of these decimal points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have to have 10 digits after this 1, okay, because that's a positive 10. So 1, 2, 3, put a comma, 1, 2, 3, put a comma, 1, 2, 3, put a comma. All right, so there is our expansion. Now, if we have a negative, what's going to happen is I'm going to move my decimal left that many, okay? So I now have to move it left 1, 2, 3, 4, which means I have to add in some more decimals. So 0.12311 is my expansion into decimal form. Okay, so I'm moving that decimal left, positive number, I'm moving it right, so I'm increasing the value. So now we're going to write in scientific notation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my decimal here, and I'm actually going to move it here. So this is going to be 4.6, okay? Now, I started with a number that was larger than 1, So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count over the number of tens units, and that will be my 10 to that many power. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this becomes 10 to the 6th. Now I have 0.00023. So I'm going to write this as 2.3 because I have to have a number to the left of my decimal here. I'm now going to look at moving this decimal this many units to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this becomes 10 times to the negative 5th power because I moved it 5 units over. Now the nice thing with scientific notation is it allows me to kind of do some other kind of larger multiplication and division properties kind of in my head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate this into 3.4, let's put it, I guess, times 2, and then 10 to the 9th times 10 to the negative 5th. Well, now we have our power properties here. You can do 2 times 3.4, that gives me 6.8. This gives me 10 to the 9 plus negative 5, which gives me 6.8 times 10 to the 4th. Okay, so it allows me to kind of multiply and divide fairly easy. So when I split this up, I'm going to split this up as 8.4 over 4 times 10 to the negative 7th over 10 to the negative 4th. So 8.4 divided by 4 is 2.1. This gives me 10 minus 7 minus 4, which is going to give me 2.1 times 10 to the negative 3rd. Okay? So it does kind of simplify things, making it a little bit easier to kind of do those in your head. So that's kind of a review, kind of talking about exponents and scientific notation.